We have worked over the years together from both sides of the community, all through the 25 years, and nothing separated us, but a lot in common, the needs and different things. And they were the things we fought for during the Troubles, and we're still fighting for them. And we're, as far as I can see, it'll take women to bring men to their senses here in Northern Ireland. So I'm getting them introduced into politics. And we're going to start up a good lobbying group so that we can put these men where we want them. After all, we're 51% of the vote. And if we can say to them, you don't have to change your religion, you don't have to change your politics. All you've got to say to them, we want to see something done about that. If you don't get their vote. And that's the only way we'll get them to sit down and talk and do something together. Mm-hmm. Would you like to?
Well,
I'm doing this upside down. I'm used to meeting the president's wife every week.
I think you're doing really well. I just wanted first to thank all of you for coming to visit with me. And I know that for every one of you who sits here at the table with me, there are hundreds and thousands of other women who could be here as well. And I want to convey my personal appreciation to all of them. I want a chance, as brief as it is, just to listen to each of you. I think what you have done in the last years is very important, not only for Northern Ireland, but really for the whole world. Because what Joyce says is right, that in many ways, perhaps because of children, we have a link to the future that keeps giving us hope and energy to try to make things better, no matter how dark they sometimes appear. I see that wherever I go in the world, when I meet with women of all walks of life, of whatever backgrounds, there's a common theme, and that is that we all want to make the world a better place for our own children and eventually grandchildren and everyone who comes next. I also think there's a lot the world can learn from what you have done here. This is not just on behalf of your people. There are many problems that go beyond any particular country or situation. How do we make sure our children are well educated to get good jobs for the future? How do we make sure people are employed? How do we provide the kind of resources our communities need? There are things we can learn from what you're doing as well. So with that, Joyce, I would love it if we could just go around the table, and if each woman here would perhaps just tell me a little bit about what she's doing, what she has done. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them. But to more have a conversation, that's what I'd like.
You want to start?
And I'd love some tea if I could.
Yes. What kind of tea do you like?
Whatever. Just whatever.
Do you have milk?
No, just plain.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I'm still a little jet lagged, so the stronger the better. That looks great.
Well, I'm glad you like tea.
I love tea.
I just like coffee.
I drink tea all the time.
Joyce? Yes, please.
It stays so nice and hot in those pots. Did this stay hot for a long time? Where could I get one to take home with me?
Joyce will give you one.
No, don't. I want to buy one because I have I put a cozy on the top of my teapot to keep it warm. But even with a cozy, it doesn't stay warm long enough for me. So I need one of those.
Okay.
Excuse me. That's a nice cup of tea. Well, you never have a cup of water in there.
Never, Joyce. No good stuff. Well, Miss Clinton, my name is Mary Emmett, and I work on up the road here, on the Ormeau Road, Joyce, further down. I work up the top, round the Lagan, the River Lagan. And it was a beautiful place to live, certainly because of the scenery around it and stuff like that. Absolutely gorgeous. But in saying that, right in the centre of it was masonettes and flats. They are now obsolete. And most of the flats and masonettes, families lived in them. Had beautiful places inside, but it's ghastly. So the people of Ryan Annandale asked would we form a committee and get on with the job of seeing we could have them knocked down, proper housing put up, and also a proper community centre where they could meet, because for years they've been working out of one of the flats and trying to carry on, especially with the children, youth clubs, old age pensioners, advice centres, things like that. But it was very difficult. But now we've actually achieved that, thank God. The masonettes, most of them are demolished. In the next 2, maybe 3 years, there'll be a complete new sort of Annandale estate where it will be sitting again in a beautiful place. And that's generally what I do.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been doing this?
Well, we've actually been doing it for about 20 odd years, but this particular project that we have, it has taken us 4 years. But we have been around right through the Troubles on the Ormeau Road from no premises at all, but this is the up-to-date one that we have too. And then for jobs, especially for youth or people that have fell between the net of the education system, that have the brains, and the way things are with the government, that you can get a year's work and then you're dumped again. So what we're trying to achieve, and all the women coming together to see if we can get a better structure for the youth. And not only the youth, there's people right into their late 30s that feel they're lost now and they've got so much to give. Really. So that's me.
Annie?
Yeah. I'm Annie Quinn. I come from the Shore Strand area. I worked in Foundry for about 7 years, and I was instrumental, me and a few other people, to getting the Jobs Club started there. Shore Strand Parent and Youth, the community forum worker. I'm now changed my job to a home parent group. We're established about a year. We haven't got no funds yet, but we've a lot of applications in, and we're hoping to get some money soon, because our work's it's looking good at the minute. We have no premises, but we're hoping to obtain premises within the next 3 weeks, rent free for 3 months. Good, it's looking good for us, so we can get things off the ground.
What age people do you work with mostly?
Well, the home parents range from 20 on upwards, 30, and their children vary from 0 to 13. And then there's older ones like myself, that their children's mothers and fathers do. We have to look to their sons and daughters. If they're employed, we're trying to get some employment. And Joyce and I was talking about a few things to link together with the Ormeau Road and Shore Strand to try and get some employment for some of our children in the Shore Strand area. Believe it or not, they're 25 years old and they have never ever had a job. And I think that's sad in the 20th century. I think that's disgraceful. And you know, we don't want to be classified as layabouts. We want to have the right to work. And so that's what I think I have to do for my group, to try and get employment, and above all for the lone parents. They don't want to be classified or stigmatized lone parents or spongers or anything like that. They are not. And Mr. Peter Lilly said last night that these lone parents are, they get pregnant and they jump the door queues, and that's wrong. There's a variety of reasons why people are lone parents. Sometimes it's domestic violence, it's alcoholic abuse from their husbands, and whatever, they desert them. So therefore, are we going to be stigmatised by the likes of Peter Lilly? I will have to challenge him sometime along the line and say, right, we're not. And he discusses about us getting work. We do work. We do mother and father to our children. We work doubly. We don't get paid for it. We are working to make our children better people for society. I challenge Peter Lilly.
So will I.
Yeah. Well, I'm Alicia McIntyre, and I work for a group in Belfast called MARC, which stands for Money and Relationship Counselling. Basically, we're debt counsellors. We help anybody who's got financial problems. We have 2 projects within work. One is a domestic debt unit. The other is a small unit for self-employed people. This was only recently set up with funds from the IFI and LEDU. It was set up because we were getting more and more people coming to us who were self-employed and were hitting trouble. And you've got a whole lot of different legislation, and you've income tax and VAT queries, so we had to take on extra people to do that.
Now, are your services free to the people you counsel?
They're free, they're confidential, so they are. It started in 1988 by 4 women. Because we'd worked in the voluntary sector, we had a lot of people coming in with problems, but we were finding that the baseline, a lot of problems was money, and there was nowhere for them to go. So the 4 of us got together and we started the organisation. We were then, and still are, the only independent professional debt counselling agency within the North. We have an office in Belfast, which is in central Belfast. We chose the centre of the town, although it was more expensive in rent, deliberately because it was accessible to everybody from both sides of the community, within Belfast and from all over the North. It meant if somebody was coming from Derry, it was 1 bus journey down, or they're coming to Minneskill or Newry, we're within walking distance of both the rail and train stations. We've expanded in that we have an office now in Coleraine, serving the Northern Board area. We would hope soon to have one in Southern Board area, maybe down by Newry, and one over in the Western Board area, but like everybody else, it depends on funding. We deal with everybody from single unemployed right through to double income professional families. A lot of people are afraid to come forward because of debt, because they think that they're going to be judged as bad managers or what, but we have never really come across a yet cause for their problem. It was loss of a job, loss of overtime, a marriage breakup, maybe they had twins, they were expecting one baby, maybe twins arrived, it was extra expenses, an elderly parent has come to live with them, more expenses. There's always a reason there. There's always a reason. Well, part of our job would be to maximise their income as well, so anybody on benefits, we make sure they're getting everything they're entitled to, try to get them onto additional benefits. And we act as mediators between sort of the creditor and the debtor. We would step in.
So you keep people out of court, which
do
saves
our-
money for everybody.
We
if
do
you
our
can
very, very best to keep them out of court.
Mhm.
And it does save money for the financial
Yeah,
institutions.
and for them,
you know, if we
yeah.
can get all the information, put it down in black and white, and show that it's not worth their while chasing these people because they're not going to get it, because the money isn't there, then it saves them time. Our credibility has gone up greatly over the last couple of years, and I mean, people from around this table, they have all sent us clients. They've all referred people to us at some stage or another with different problems. Certainly, it needs to be expanded. There is great need there. We need more people because we do have a wait list, unfortunately, to see people. And normally debt is such a thing that people hide it to the point that everything's just about to explode. So if we can get more people in, we can see them quicker. That's
Very
it.
good.
Mabel?
My name is Mabel Fry, and I work with the South Belfast Cultural Society. I can't believe that I had to come home from America 2 years ago, to meet you here, in Belfast today. And as I say, I came home the 4th of July, 93, and couldn't find a job. My age was against me, so for a year we basically lived on my daughter's social security check from America. And then I went on one of these marvellous ACE schemes that everyone condemns, but for me it was an absolute lifesaver. I did home visits to the elderly, and I was really appalled at some of the conditions that I found. Some of these little people were sitting where they had outlived their family, or their families were the like of Australia, New Zealand, Canada, America, and hadn't seen them in years. And they were sitting on very, very little money, really trying to make ends meet. So I'm afraid I became very involved in the needs of the elderly, and decided I really had to try to do something about this. So my ACE scheme ended after a year, and still no job. So I do voluntary work full time, and I enjoy it very, very much. Indeed, I became very interested in politics, and I was told to get in touch with Joyce about couple of different projects that I had. Human Visited Joyce. She gave a lot of wonderful advice. And so I'm going to take it, what do you call it, from there.
Very good.
Keep us the voluntary sector.
Mary?
My name's Mary Fox. I'm from Poglass. It's outer West Belfast. I'm a voluntary worker in Footprints Women's Centre. We try to provide educational facilities for women, crash facilities especially. The predicament we're in now is the demand is very high in Poglass, and we don't have the crash facilities needed. We're only allowed to take 24 children. So the predicament we're in, we're actually having to turn women away because we can't keep their kids for them while they're in having these different classes. We went from informal classes to GCSEs, and there's now 18 women doing the foundation course, which is an entrance into university. We're hoping in the next couple of years to extend so we can provide the necessary facilities for the women. What we would do is different courses, self-development courses. We look after the children. You know, the crash stimulates them. We work with NIPA closely. We do cross-community with Windsor, Seymour Hill, various women's centres we get together. And that's basically it.
And so the women seek you out on their own, or are they referred to you usually?
We advertise mainly, and through word of mouth. If we know a woman is maybe in trouble, we would actually go to her. But we leave it up to her. We just make sure she knows we're there.
Right.
You know, but we don't put anybody under pressure. And no matter what they want to do, you know, we'll try and cover that for them, you know, for each individual.
Rita?
Well, my name's Rita Weatherall, and I'm involved with women's work in Northdown, and it's very exciting work. I find it to be. I've been involved in it for over the past 6 years, and basically there was nothing for women in the whole of 2 council boroughs, which is Northdown and Ards, and we set up the very first women's group and women's centre down there. The reason why we set up was because first of all, there was nothing, and we'd say, well, here, you know, we can't have this, we have to have a work here going for women. And so we got together some women and we discussed all the different needs that women have, all the things, you know. In fact, I threw a roll of wallpaper over my living room door, and a roll of wallpaper about 11.5 yards, and we have filled it with all the different needs that women have. And we went through them, and it wasn't big writing either, you know, it was small writing. And we went through all those, and we said, now, who's needing this? Who's needing this? Where would you go to get this need met, you know? And it turned out, I mean, there's single issue groups like Women's Aid and Home Start that care for mothers under stress, you know, with wee toddlers, and, you know, from 0 to 5. But there was nothing there to really, you know, just for the women. And one of the things that came out from that was the number one priority was somebody to talk to, somebody to listen. And also low self-esteem. That was a biggie. And so we thought, well, here, you know, we really need to set up something around this. So our work over the years has been that, and it's been really exciting. It's been brilliant. We've been able to, you know, women maybe have come in. We've been running informal education classes because a lot of women have had very bad experiences at school. I mean, I myself, I'm what you call a late developer, you know, and I get in through an ACE scheme as well, and come into community work, and it opened up like a whole new world to me, and I thought, wow, you know, I've got to let women know about this, you know, and because I was aware of, you know, low self-esteem and, you know, the things. I mean, this world isn't set up to build you up and encourage you and help you, so that's why we came into existence. So over the years, we've had women coming in, maybe a lot suffering from mental health problems, and we set up a mental health support group with the community psychiatric workers, the Northern Ireland Mental Health Association. We had women coming in and starting basic education classes, and some of them, you know, would be so, you know, feel so good about that, you know, and about gaining this, just being able to do it, or just speaking out for the first time in a group, you know, and then some women would come through that, and some of them went on and got university courses and, you know, got certificates and things. Other women have come in and got driving lessons, because one of the things that we discovered as we were going along is that we needed to provide access to opportunities, training opportunities for women. So we had brought Enterprise Ulster into the centre, and we were able to get women driving lessons and the driving tests, so they were able to, you know, have that skill. They were able to do computer courses, typing courses, you name it, aromatherapy, you know, you name it, and they were able to do that free and with expenses paid for travelling and that. And so it meant that, and even if someone came in and was lonely, you know, in the centre, they found friendship and they found support from the other women. And another thing that we found was that the lone parents were just, you know, naturally, they didn't have to say, here, you know, come on, we set up a wee, you know, special. They just naturally got together and they started organising activities and, you know, looking after each other's kids, letting the other ones out to go here, go there, or whatever, you know. So for me, you know, it's been a very rewarding thing, and for the women in North Down, you know, there has been that, you know, and that opportunity. And I really feel that, you know, I'm here today and really representing women North Down and Ireland, all over the place, you know, because I'm sure no matter where you go in the world, the low self-esteem is a big issue. I'm sure you find that.
It may be expressed in different ways, but you're absolutely right that, you know, how, not just women, men as well, how they feel about themselves often determines not only how well they do on their own, but how they treat other people.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, the Bible says, you know, love your neighbor as yourself. It means you have to love yourself, not in a, you know, boastful way, but in a respectful way, a positive way. And, you know, that is so basic, but people overlook it, don't they?
That's right.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
Yeah. And in fact, some of the women came in, and I'm running off here, you know, but some of the women came in and they started tutoring as well, you know. Now, unfortunately, just at the minute, we are without premises because our lease was up, and, you know, but we're working on that, you know.
Sally.
Well, I'm Sally McElroon from Devis. I'll start from Devis because that's where I started from. We had a fight very hard for anything we got all along the line. We had flats that was condemned, that we fought to get down, and we have now beautiful houses. And we have a new community centre in Devis. I belong to a group which is 8 parent youth groups, and they would work with youth that got into difficulties in the courts. We went to court with them, we've done all the things that they had to do. And we worked with them, try and get them jobs, give them letters of reference for anything they want to go to. The thing about it is that the parent youth has been going for 15 years, and it's never been established, really established, by any statutory agents. So every year we have to fight for money, and they keep going. We all have centres, but no full-time workers in them, and we feel very degraded by that. In Devis and in Ballymurphy and all them areas, there's three generations of unemployed. That nobody has ever had a job. They get a nice job for a year, which gives them a bit of money in their pocket. The lady says it's good for her, but it wasn't good for our kids. And I reject the scheme. I think it shouldn't be there, that there should be jobs, that people should, kids coming up, youth, should know the worth they have, that they're part of our system. They're going to be our politicians in years to come. We have to give them standards to move forward in that. I'd like to see jobs for our youth. They say electronics and all this. Some of our kids have got good past jobs that they could bring their skills forward. Their grandfathers had skills that they worked 5 years for very little money to have that skill. And it should have been passed through the years. All them skills are lost. we need to pick them up again
Mhm.
and set our kids forward. We have a bit of ground in Divis at the minute that we were looking for money to get workshops built in it. I think community can do that,
Mhm.
and only the community.
What kind of workshops?
Well, there's skills about, like, that we've been doing surveys about what skills is about, old skills that can be brought in, like nickelling, all the things that can be done, wee small jobs that you can learn kids and give them 3 years work, good work, with a bit of money. Not is because I think you're degrading our children giving them is. And when they come out of years, there's no money in their pockets, so they're going to town and stealing, and I don't think that's right. We want our children to be as good as everybody else and part of the whole thing, and I think that's what we need to do. And the rest of the parent youth groups are all the same. They want work in their areas and some facilities that there could be child mating or whatever. I mean, no matter when we go to fight to get anything, we're torn down in it. I'd like to know why, especially in West Belfast, why that's happening and why things are getting cut and why we have to go into partnerships to get anything, because we've had partnerships all our years with everybody. We have all worked together and we've pulled together and we've done everything, and I think it's time government sat down and talked around the table where everybody and get these peace talks going so as we can get ahead while working our areas.
Hello, my name is Laura Leonard. I'm from Twinbrook, and for the last few years I've been working with youth under the Wider Horizons programme, which is funded by the International Fund for Ireland. It's a 3-tier programme, young people, Catholic, Protestant,